Hello again, K-Truck fans. Today we're going to replace the thermostat as well as do a coolant flush and fill since we're going to have things apart. I'm pretty sure the thermostat that's in here, right under here, has failed open. It never gets to temp, so that'll come out. The coolant that I have seen through the cap over there looks like wood stain. It's brown, smells like rust, so we'll get that out, we'll get that flushed. One other thing we're going to do with this is that tank over there, the expansion tank. May be hard to see in the video, but the liquid inside looks pretty red or brown or opaque. But anyway, we'll get it out and we'll get it cleaned out as well. So our first step before we drain from the bottom is open this puppy up. We can let the air in. Let's see what we got in there. There's some stuff floating around in there, so it should be interesting. See what comes on out underneath. So here we are under the front of the vehicle. You can see the radiator back there a little bit. Way down in the kind of in the center of the shot here is a little white valve that we're gonna turn, and it should drain right out the bottom. You got a pan down here waiting for all the coolant. Oh my gosh, I can't even get a tool in here. That's what she said. There we go. Oh, there it is. I think if I pull it any further, that handle's coming out. So let's get this emptied and oh, there we go. That's a little better. Not gonna push my luck. So our level's down here at top, so it's draining. Oof. This will be fun to see what comes out. 3.5 liters coolant is in here. It's pretty small. So if I can share with you what we can see in there. Let's see. See the ends of the fins. I don't know if you can see. It's a streaked liquid. Like there's streaks of rust or crud floating around in it. You can see the whole cap here is brown. Let's go take that expansion tank out. Those of you who watched the video where I changed the plugs saw me take this out. I'll put a card up so if I remember for that one. But we'll get this tank out. They're attached, so I'll have to empty this one. We'll clean this one out. I'm sure it's full of crud. Before we pull that. Oh my gosh, look at that. It looks like thin chocolate milk in there. The other liquid I gotta worry about is the washer fluid. Because it's got a hose on the bottom and an electrical connection. That I should have taken off first. There we go. We're gonna get this washer line off here. There we go. Keep that covered. Look at that. Didn't spill a thing. That sounds like I'm taking a pee into this container. I don't know if you can see they kind of look like little green somethings. There's some sheet of something floating around in the washer fluid. Get that out later and we'll take a good look at it. Digging around in here. There we go. Now it's really close. It's kind of green. I don't know what it is. Mix up any schmoo that's hanging out in there. And we'll get it out. I'm gonna go wash this whole thing. Woo, I hope you can see that. Chocolate milk. Wow. So here's the tank cleaned. There's the remnants of what was inside. Just a lot of brown goo. I couldn't reach all the way over here to get it, but a lot of goo in there and some sort of green algae looking thing growing in the washer fluid. So, well, that's all. We'll put it back now. Pull this back on here. Oh, put this little guy back on here. Perfect. Put it in. Okay. So what I'm doing, pull this out completely. Look at that. Looks like we got her empty enough. Let's get that closed. It's plastic, so hand tight should be good enough. Next step, even though the thermostat is stuck open, we're going to get it out of here just so we have full flow through the system, get all the crud out. So let's get that baby out. They look like 12s. I guess we'll see. So we got a 12 on these bolts. And thanks Mitsubishi for putting this right under the middle of the vehicle. This is super handy. I feel like this does come out, but we're not going through that much effort today. One. The more I take apart this truck, parts of this truck, the more I think I'm the first person to do it, since the folks in Japan built the damn thing. Thermostat appears to be stuck to the... So I kind of want to just keep the gasket as best I can for now. Oh. Wowzers. Back on it goes. So like I said before, 3.5 liters coolant, so we're going to use some distilled water and a bit of this. This is designed for, I think, 3 gallons. So we barely got a gallon, so we'll use maybe a third of this, and then most of this. We'll see what fits. Oh, let's see how well I can do this. Let's add some of this here cleaner. I overflowed just a little bit. Crank the engine here a little bit to move some of that fluid around. So I run it for a little bit. I only put like a quart in. I only got like a quart out. I wonder if it's either much smaller than I expected or I didn't get all the coolant out. Whoops. But it's cleaning really well. So we're gonna drain what I got in here out and see what it looks like. See how many flushes are gonna be needed. So let's get underneath. So don't be scared. Everything's going fine, even though it may not look it. I used a little air to get the extra fluid out, and I had the petcock valve completely out, so it made a bit of a mess, but that's all right. Good news, most of this is water. I'm going to take what I did catch in the pan. We'll compare it to the first pulling. We'll see how clean it is. I'll fill her up again with water or coolant, depending on how clean it is. I know a black container may not be the best, but here's the first and the second. This one's a little biased because the overflow tank had some pretty gnarly stuff in it, so the stuff out of the radiator wasn't quite as milky as this. This was the stuff we cleaned out. It's a light kind of a brown. So we'll do it one more time. But this time I'm not taking out the petcock valve fully when I drain it. Just filled it a second time with still water and cleaner. I actually got about a half gallon in this time. I suppose the other quart is on my floor now, so that was fun. I ran it through a little, we'll run it through here a little more. That goes deep. Back again with the fifth. Clean out. Same as the rest. So, what I'm gonna do is flush it with the hose in the driveway until I see clear water coming out. So how I'm gonna do that is the top radiator hose is the part there on the passenger side. And you can see here on the driver's side, the bottom radiator hose is off. So I can flush both the engine side and the radiator side. The thermostat is still out of its place, so it won't be in the way to flush the engine. I'm not sure how much of this I will be able to get on the GoPro, but I'll do my best. All right, switch to action cam on my head. Water looks good. That's where I got the hose over here. I'm gonna do this again. Now this should be fun. Going the other way. This angle might not fly. Oh, let's do the radiator. Coming out clean. And since this is just groundwater from the well, we're gonna do one more distilled water run through it and see how clean it is. Okay, so just water this time. Then we'll run it and we'll see what we get. No cleaner. Besides, I'm out anyway. I used it all. 7th flush later. It's basically really clear apple juice. You know, there's only 7 cups total, but I ran out. So there were 7 flushes after the initial thing, plus the hose water flush. I'm no engine expert, but that looks clean enough to me for now. We're going to put the thermostat in and fill it with real coolant. Right there. Back inside the truck, we're going to get that thing off the top right here, clean it off, and put the new gasket and new itsy bitsy thermostat in where it belongs, and put some coolant inside. This clutch fan and this radiator without a thermostat in here cool really well. I ran it a couple of those flushes. It never even got warm to the touch. Alright, well, let me clean this up and then we'll get the new one on there. Cleaned up. They're not pristine, but they're flat. There was kind of a lot of schmutz on it, but I'd like to use this bleeder valve, but I'm not going to tempt fate today by trying to open it. I tried a little, and well, that was enough. So there's a little detent in the one on the motor for the thermostat housing. That makes sense, because the other one's flat. Then we put our gasket on. Then we jigger this thing into place. That gasket's girthy. That's right, better than too small. We'll put some coolant in it and go from there. Alright, got the real stuff out. I put a little in the expansion tank. Probably a little too much, but whatever. So I'll get this filled up. We'll get it started and I'll let you know how it goes. Alright, it's bright green. I got maybe half a gallon in there. Start the motor and move it around a little bit. So, the temperature gauge, which has never moved off of the C, now has moved to the middle. It moved nice and high, then the thermostat opened. And it's blowing hot air in the cabin. It's wonderful. So I think the engine is running at temp. The thermostat works. I know the old one was shot, so I think this was a success thus far. I'll probably have to top it off. So we'll see you tomorrow when we fill it up, see how low it is. So it's one day later. I just filled it up and took it for another run. The radiator was a little low. The expansion tank had been emptied completely, which I suppose is good news. The engine took it all in. So I refilled that. I filled this to the top. It ran really well. The heat in the car is doing really well. So we'll check one more tomorrow and make sure it's full. Just a little note about this thermostat. It has a little code on here, 696. I don't know if that's a part number or a date code. Hopefully it's not a date code, because that means it's been in there since then. But that wouldn't shock me based on what I think you've already seen come out of that motor. So I'm going to do a little test here of the original pull of the old fluid. Plus we'll test the new stuff just to make sure the gauge is working. And we'll see what the protection level is on this. I'm starting to think there might have just been water in there, but we'll see. See what the numbers say. There's the new stuff. Hope you can see it. It's at the top, where one would expect it. Nice and blurry. Sorry about that. Let's do the old stuff. Here's the old chocolate milk stuff. Looks like plus 10 Fahrenheit. Barely see it. So, only slightly better than water. It might be a little diluted from my flushes, but... So we're back inside. This is completely done. You can see the nice fresh green coolant in there. I have had it up to temp a couple times, so we're all full. The expansion tank is full. I have the seat down right now so we can't see it, but it's working much better. And I'm glad I got that water out before winter, so I hope you watching my struggles was helpful. Basically, if you're gonna flush one of these, I'd recommend emptying it, pulling these hoses on the both sides, just doing a power flush with your garden hose, and then a distilled water cleaning, and hopefully that cleans it out. That'll save you a lot of time, because there was a lot of schmutz in there. So this might be the next one. We'll see. So thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.